Today's first impressions is on Leaf Blowing Simulator. It's a really simple concept, not unlike that of Power Wash Simulator, but with a more modern feel with new technology and stuff and really, really nice graphics to boot. We'll, as always, look through the settings and then we'll jump into the game and I will give you my thoughts and opinions on both the settings and the game. I must admit, the settings menu is actually quite robust and has made me a very happy man. There are a few issues with the optimization of the game, but we can get into that later. Your general settings, you've got your default player view, which is a really nice thing. There are tons of camera views in this, and I like the fact that you can choose whether you want first person or third. You've got the display in-game clock, which honestly you don't need. It's just something that if you are trying to do like a speed run or something, it's nice to have on. If you are somebody that is trying to relax and chill out, then definitely don't have the timer on because it will add undue stress. The display frames per second is a really useful tool, and I will be leaving that on for the duration of the video because it's interesting to show you the differences that you're going to get with the different settings. The heads-up display, again, something nice to have on if you want a minimalistic screen. You're not going to want that heads-up display on, so it's nice to have added the option there as well. Controller vibration, I've not actually got my controller plugged in, but this does have full controller support with both controls for keyboard and for the controller, which is really nice. It gives you an option for both. The ground circle distance indicator, this is something that I have found incredibly useful, but again, it's nice to see that they can have it on or off. And then you've got Jay's voice. You've got a number of different voices to choose from, although to be honest, the first one is pretty damn good. And then toggle sway. I would say definitely have toggle sway on. It just makes life a lot easier. And if you are prone to motion sickness, then you're probably not going to want the sway on at all anyway, as it was making me feel a bit nauseous and it was just watching the leaf blower move side to side. And then AMD performance boost. I'm not using an AMD card. I am using an NVIDIA RTX 4060 Ti 16 gig. So I've not got that on because there's no real point. Your controls, you've only really got mouse sensitivity and invert mouse control. There isn't really, from what I've seen, a quick controls tab, so you can't really see what the inputs are outside of doing the tutorial, but there's not really a huge amount to sort of learn. It's number keys for your different equipment, and then you've got N for nozzle, C for camera, and Q and E to raise and decrease power. Your input, again, there is no input here because I don't have a controller in. Your video settings. Now, there are a couple of issues with this that I've had since playing it, but what I would like to say out the bat is that there is a lot of settings here, and I really like the fact that there are. It is so nice to see a game with a decent options menu in 2024. I've been woefully disappointed with games in the past. However, what I will say is that turning VSync on does absolutely nothing. The only way I got it to sit at a stable frame rate was to lower the settings because it's not that best optimized, and then actually set my frame rate to 60, which is what vertical sync should do. You turn vertical sync on and it will usually gray out the frame rate. It seems like there's a disconnect there, and as a result, VSync doesn't actually do anything, which if you're using OBS or anything like that, can be a bit of a problem. However, resolution scale is set to 87 by default. It is set to windowed full screen by default, and it's set to 1080 by default as well. You've got your overall quality, then you've got AA, foliage quality, texture quality, shading quality, shadow quality, reflections quality, post-processing, particle quality, view distance quality, global illumination quality. There's a lot of settings here which allows you to really tailor that to yourself. What I will say is that I turned it down to high and I've had no issues at all. The frame rate stayed stable at 59 to 60. Your audio settings, it does start the audio at 100. I have turned it down to 50 and left everything else the same. The music is actually really very peaceful and very chill, and it being at 10 by default is a really nice sort of level because it just sort of stays in the background, and I must admit that the sound effects of the leaves and everything is really, really good. And if you're into ASMR and stuff like that, you are going to really, really enjoy this game. So that's the options menu. I'm actually very, very impressed with this. It would be nice if on the controls they actually had a keybind. Like I say, outside the tutorial, there's not really a lot that you can see there, which is a bit upsetting. Moving and talking quickly on the tutorials for just a second. It's actually a really good tutorial. It does go through every part of the game that you can possibly sort of work at. What I will say, however, is on some of the later ones, namely the highlight and autopile and the nozzles, it doesn't make it clear what you've got to do until you hit the specific zone. And that's a bit of an issue because if you don't realize what it is you've got to do to trigger the tutorial, you can't trigger the tutorial, you can't complete it. And even though you might get a grip of the game whilst you're doing it, it is nice to maybe be pointed and say you've got to go to this area in order to trigger the cues and the information that you need in order to do the tutorial itself. Once you have selected campaign, it will come up to your current mission. It doesn't look like there's a way to go back from this menu. I don't know if you can go into arcade and do the stages behind. It gives you a little bit of a synopsis and tells you what it is that you're going to need to do and a little snippet of what the area you're going to be cleaning is. It also shows you the tools that you've got and it shows you how many leaves there are and how much money you're going to get as a result. It is raining, which is obviously going to cause some issues, but it looks pretty good so far. And we're in the game. So as you can see, it is rainy here. We are in a park and there are bits and pieces around that you've got to sort of move. Now, what you can do is you can get a shredder or you can get the leaf blower to pick them up if it's going to be too much of a hassle for you. And you've got your shredder here and you don't have the axe because this isn't the full game yet. So you got your blower and you got your shredder. If you got your blower, you can press N and you can go through many different nozzles. And if you press Q and E, like I say, you can raise and lower the power down. It's a really interesting idea. And as you can see at the bottom, we've got FPS. And the FPS is not performing great. Even though I've got vertical sync on and I've set it to 60 and I'm only on high settings, because of the rain and everything, the FPS is all over the place. It needs better optimization for when it comes out. Now, when you blow things, they will not really move. And the reason why is because you've got to clear the highlighted area first. So you've got to be in this zone here. This is the bin you've got to go to. And you've got to basically move and or pick up the leaves to get them to go into the spot. Obviously, again, with it being damp, you might actually be better off to save and conserve power using the picker-upper. Filling it, as you can see, there is a number on the leaf blower. And that shows you how much you've got or how much capacity you've got before you have to go and take it back. There are little collectibles on the game as well, apparently, which you can go over and collect. And that will give you some more XP, which will give you levels, which will also give you, you know, greater power settings and other perks in the game that you will get later on. Another cool feature is you do get a skill. You can press T and that will collect them all and make all of the leaves go into one big pile, which obviously makes your job a lot easier. Overall, this is a really relaxing game. The sounds are really nice. If you get the music level right, you're away. If they can work on the optimization and make the game just run better as a whole, I'm really excited to see what they're going to come out with, the different stages they're going to do, and other sort of tasks and things that they're going to be able to add on to really keep this fun and interesting. I really, really like this game. I think that since I never played Power Wash Sim, this is a good sort of entrance into this realm of relaxing simulators. But let me know in those comments down below what you think. Don't forget to hit the like button and leave a comment as well. And I shall see you all next time. Ciao, ciao.